Welcome, Leigh. Super excited to be talking to you today about the Future Ready Leader Connect and Reset Day. How are you doing?
I'm great. I definitely need this day.
Perfect. So I'd love to start right off the top with what was your inspiration? What sparked the idea of this, healing experience for leaders as opposed to just a bunch of conventional workshops or training?
Yeah, so I have been studying mental health and the connection to mental health and leadership, and how important it is to have healthy work environments where being your full self in a leadership role is possible, and that trickles down to the team. So the reason why I created this day is that I wanted to be able to have a day for leaders that are in positions where they're helping their communities and also their teams to have a connect and reset day so they can connect with like-minded individuals who understand what they're going through, that are balancing building their personal brands while overseeing very big portfolios. And I know that you're one of those people. So that's why I reached out to you to be a part of this day, because I know that you are such a resilient leader who's doing so much good social impact work in the world. And so it's like leaders like you who I feel probably need a day to reset and to explore a variety of different modalities, including we have two psychotherapists, one who is an expert in well-being and belonging, and the other who is a certified forest therapy guide. So that sort of sets the stage for an incredible day with experts. We'll have painting with a leader by day who is works in a busy nonprofit environment and is a painter by night. So she's going to be doing a leadership painting vision exercise. You'll be providing branding and social impact advice for leaders to build their brands. And I'm going to be talking about the pillars of leadership based off of a book that I've just finished reading on conscious leadership. And we are going to create this incredible day where we'll all walk away with the tools, resources, and knowledge to be the best inner leader that we can be, so that outwardly we can really make an impact with those that we serve.
That makes sense. It's definitely, sorry, it's definitely a unique experience. I've been to all kinds of conferences, virtual conferences as well. And obviously, the in person aspect is so important, but not just for the connection, but because there's different activities you can do. And with the Future Ready event, it looks like there's going to be some pretty unique things, forest bathing and recreation therapy. So I want to ask, how can these help leaders to regulate stress or build more resilience for the social impact work that they're doing?
Yeah, so the thing about being in nature is that it is a time to reset your emotional regulation. And if the best leadership advice is that every year, at least once a year, you should get out of your office and away from your work environment, put the phone aside, and really just work on the core elements of why you are in the business that you are. And so this day is really about tapping into your creativity, releasing all of your to-do list, and just working on the things that matter most, which is building, like you said, building that resilience, being able to problem solve. There's a lot of evidence that our when we sort of put away all of those external inputs, we tap into the ability to problem solve. And so bringing this community of change makers together is an opportunity to really reset, but also to tap into our creativity, to reset our nervous system, and to come up with ways to solve some of the problems that might challenge us in a collective problem solving manner. So really excited to bring this together. We're also doing a documentary, which is pretty cool because I really think that there are a lot of leaders out there that are suffering in silence. They feel like they have to show up and be everything to everybody, and they don't necessarily have, they're maybe afraid that if they let down their guard or share what they're really going through, that people will maybe not trust them, or will judge them. And so I really want to really take that paradigm of like thinking that, we have to put on this face of who we are, and really think about, it's okay to be authentic. It's okay to be vulnerable. In fact, it's actually a really great way to disarm and to make people feel comfortable around you. So we're actually doing a service to ourselves and to others by letting that guard down and being our true inner leader.
I think that's really important. And that kind of touches on this whole thing of branding and personal branding because, you know, normally from a day-to-day basis, a lot of people that are busy doing the work don't think about the bigger picture brand or even their personal brand.
Mm-hmm.
Someone like me, I have a chance to work on brands and consult on thought leadership and personal brands all the time. So I have a different mindset there. But for the majority of people, I think coming out into a retreat setting where you've changed your environment as you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
I think that can really help you to think differently and give that perspective. I think that's the most important part. And the benefits of that, of course, are that you can open your mind away from the day to day and think
Mm-hmm.
more about the bigger picture and purpose, for example. And I think, every year for me, that does happen when I go up to Muskoka once a year. Usually in August. This year I went earlier, and I always have some type of clarity that will come to me about my direction or about what I should eliminate off my plate or a project that I really want to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just a really great idea. So I would encourage, other leaders or founders, no matter where you're at in your process, that this is a great opportunity to explore that. And you might not know exactly what you're going to get out of it until it's already happened.
Yeah, and the other thing I think that is interesting is that when we get together, there's an opportunity for others to share things that they see in, like, I could be sharing things with you that I see in you that maybe you didn't really think was that important, and yet it is something that you're really known for, and maybe you're not capitalizing on that as much, right? So it's like tapping into that inner genius, that zone of genius that oftentimes we don't operate in, and sometimes it takes someone else bringing it to your attention to really be able to focus on that and own it. And so, I know that both of us have gone through a transformation in our own brands to, maybe we felt like in the past we had to do a certain type of work because that was what was expected of us. And yet we both found our path to doing work that really is our part of our legacy. And but that comes with a lot of pressure, and I think that we all need time to really process that around people that will provide that safety and that sense of camaraderie, and just really be able to lean into that. And we'll also talk about the future ready skills that are required. I know that you're doing an AI workshop coming up soon. And, I think that a lot of leaders, especially those that aren't in marketing and technology, may be a bit concerned about, how they can ethically add some of these tools, these future tools, into their tool belt in present day. And so we'll be talking a bit about that as well, and some of the trends that are happening, and what are the concerns, what are we worried about for the future, and how can we deal with those challenges now in the present.
Yeah, it's another, opportunity to kind of think ahead, right? When
Exactly.
when you're so busy working on everything, it's hard to think so far ahead. And the future, we it's happening as quickly as ever. The rate of innovation from a technology perspective, so much is changing. So I think it's really good to be covering that on this day as well, as opposed to only reflecting, and looking back as well. Um,
Exactly.
one of the taglines for the event is to master your leadership and build a brand where you don't burn out or blend in.
Mhm.
I wanted to ask you about what you've seen with people, with leaders who are burning out because they're potentially not focused on the right work, or what is it that's causing so many leaders at this time to burning out?
Yeah, well, I think when you're building your brand, there is this expectation that you have to get out and share your message. And so that means attending events and speaking at events and being on podcasts and doing all the things. And that's important, but you also need to tap into, not everything needs to be done in the present moment. You have to spread it out a little bit, and that can be a real challenge. I know that I'm sure people in our community really struggle with that, you know, not knowing what opportunity is going to be the role that could change their lives, right? You're thinking about actors and actresses, oh, when they turn that down, that's the big regret. I turned that role down. And that can be a challenge. So we say yes to everything, and then we spread ourselves too thin. So it's choosing the right opportunities and being fully present for the things that you do show up for, and that takes a lot of discipline. And so we'll talk about how we make our decisions around what to be involved in and how to say no. I think that's also something that a lot of leaders struggle with, is how to say no, because they want to please everybody. And unfortunately, when you try to please everybody, you end up pleasing no one.
That's one of my favorite things to refer back to as well. And
Mhm.
I that advice, I apply it right back to myself often.
Mhm. Mhm. Me too. Me too.
Awesome. The one of the parts of the program, or at least the promise, is presence, care, and showing up as your full self. I know that
Mhm.
a lot of times, whether it's on being on Zoom calls all day, or being at different events or functions for work, whether you're building your business or it's your job, you might not necessarily bring your whole self there.
Mhm.
In an event like this, where you might be with some new people, what will help people to kind of practice that presence and showing up as your full self?
Yeah, so we're going to do, that's where our psychotherapists friends come in. We're going to do some great recreational activities first thing in the morning. So we're going to go and do our hike. Forest, I won't call it a hike, a forest guide, therapy guide. So that's Nadia Frost, who will guide us through an opening opportunity to reset. So it's a little bit of inner work first, and then we will do some fun team building things to get to know each other and to get comfortable. And so, there'll be some somatic exercises at the beginning of the day with Natalie Haynes, who helps everyone to feel a sense of belonging and purpose. And, there'll be safety mechanisms in place so that everyone feels safe, heard, and that there's no pressure. It's, you can share as much as you want, you can listen more and talk less if that is best for you. So this event will work really well for an introvert, but it will also work really well for people who are more extroverted.
That's great. Um, we will kind of wrap up by talking about some of the benefits and the takeaways of attending, because of course there is the in-person experience. But
Mhm.
what are some things that people kind of walk away with and get to access outside of the session, or outside of the Future Ready Leader Day?
Yeah, so those that join our experience will be a part of a bigger community after they leave. So we'll be doing some follow up to find out, to to be there as a an opportunity to sort of like be able to provide that ongoing support as they maybe digest some of this. And so we'll have a couple of follow-up sessions where we'll get back together and we'll see how are things going, what roadblocks have come up since you're back into your everyday life, and how can we as a collaborative uh, collective support each other. We also will have leadership tools online. There will be a lot of resources, books, and um, actually some meditations for leaders that they'll have access to post event.
That's great for sure. Well, I'm looking forward to being part of it, talking about personal branding and branding as a whole and how this all fits in during this reflective time, and definitely looking forward to checking out a lot of the other sessions and speakers that you mentioned. There's some interesting topics there, including ethical AI and public speaking, and a lot of reflection opportunities. So looking forward to that. So you can get your ticket through Changemaker Collective, and we'll of course make the link available for everyone. Thank you so much, Leigh. We will see you at the Future Ready Leader event.
Can't wait. And I'm so happy that you'll be bringing your brand presence and all the tools that you are known for. So it's going to be a great day. Can't
Thanks,
wait.
Leigh.